I have a question for all the men. So, at what point in your life, or what was the experience that made you realize that your value as a man is determined by your financial status? Because we're, you know,
I think women taught us that.
Yeah.
but we're millennials, and we didn't really grow up with this information being so public and in your face. It was a little bit more culturally taboo to say all these things. So, men have been told throughout history to just be gentlemen, and that's it. And that's all you got to do. Be gentlemen and be charming.
No, that's not true. I think if you look, with all due respect, I think if you look historically, women have always been attracted to men who could acquire resources. Like, the guy who grew up, where Fresh grew up, man, the guy who can get the best coconuts in Barbados,
Nigeria,
the best coconut picker, he probably got the most hoes, right? Yeah. Am I right?
There you go.
Yeah. See, I think it was like that.
Nigga, bro.
I think it's always been like that. Like, honestly, and just from what I've studied, if you read Dr. David Buss's book, The Evolution of Desire, he talks about it's been like this for all of documented history, and not even just for women, just even status amongst just other men or just humans. Like the person with the most resources had the better outcomes, right? I think it's more of a biological thing. The more resources you have, the greater the chances for survival for both you and your offspring. So it's not surprising that a woman would be attracted to a man with resources, because on a biological level, she knows that he can provide for the offspring,
But there wasn't like one particular experience, like when you were younger, that maybe you got rejected by a girl because you didn't have enough money at that time. So you were like, I got to get it together if I want to.
I never allowed myself to be broke. Like, even when I was struggling, I would get, my father, he fucking blew his brains out in 2007, right at the beginning of the financial crisis. And I could have just fucking cried. I had to take care of the family and shit. But instead, I got like multiple jobs. I was waking up at 4 a.m.
I know your story.
Yeah.
I watched Money Monday.
Oh, man. Good for you. That's a wise decision. That's one of the smartest things I heard tonight. But I worked several jobs, just because for me, being broke was just unacceptable. So I've struggled, but I've never been broke. And it's even easier now. Like with the internet, the iPhone wasn't even out in the time I'm talking. I'm pretty old.
You couldn't do Uber.
It didn't exist. It wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
The iPhone didn't exist. I know that might sound crazy, archaic, but I'm about to turn 40 next month, right? So it's I never allowed myself to be broke. I never experienced that. Even
the comment I made at the beginning was more of, it's halfway a joke, but about women taught us that. But I started making money when I was, he and I know each other almost a decade, by the way. We're very good friends. We did a lot of things together. I started making money when I was 7, and I just kept doing that. And I just grew up around all these, really shit people that like they weren't doing anything. Some of you did too. I don't think that's a special story. So that everybody here had some negative influences in your life you couldn't live without. And I just kept going. I didn't want to be around those people. I didn't want to be around dumb people. I didn't want to be around people that were, doing negative things. And, I want to find it's not just money. Money is one measure of resourcefulness, but there's your intellectual resources. I had 3 college degrees. I went to the best business school in our country. There's social resources. I don't have to say names, but if you look at my Instagram of people that I hang out with regularly, and they're like friends, they're not like, it's not like somebody famous. It's not just famous people. So then I'm like, oh, I hang out with them because they're famous. If I don't like somebody, I don't give a fuck who it is. If I don't like them, I don't need to spend time with them. So I wanted to be around people that are winners, they're champions, that are winners, that are getting shit done. And you got to hold yourself to that standard. If you want to be around those people, you have to be one of those people.
So for you, it was more like, I want to be in the same table as these people.
Well, we're all going to die, maybe sooner than you'd like. So how do you want to spend your life? You want to spend your life around a bunch of fucking bums? Or you want to spend your time like, I took up MMA a while ago, mixed martial arts. I got some early stage belts and some good fundamentals there. A lot of things for me to learn in that area. Okay. But I'm not training with like normal people. Like my training partners are all like world champions.
that.
and top contenders.
Yeah, because you can only really learn from someone who is above you in some way.
Well, for somebody's early stage, you don't necessarily need the best in the world, but I went to the best in the world, literally. So, but I did the same thing with college. For graduate school, I did the same thing. When I went to when I wanted to go to college, I didn't go to like an okay school. I went to the number one graduate school.
You went to Bentley?
I went to University of Chicago's MBA program.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
So there's 416 MBA programs in our country. Mine was ranked number one while I was there.
I would probably say I realized that people wanted you for monetary value when you start doing stuff for your friends. When you start, like, there was probably a few times where it was like a fundraiser or something simple like a fundraiser, buying snacks for your friends at school, this and the other. And when I started realizing that I did it for my classmates because I cared for them and this, that, and the other, that's when other people took notice of that and they wanted in on it. So they would sit there and I watched them so-called try to be my friend, so-called try to be this, so-called try to be that. And I just had that weird, awkward feeling like, where is this coming from? Why are you interested out of nowhere to have a conversation with me when the first 2 weeks out of school or this, that, and the other, you haven't even came my way? So, as you get older, you start hearing more lies and more subtle lies and stuff like that, sweet lies, white lies that they try to get in. And you just realize that you can just tell. It's like sharks to blood. When you are successful, there's a few things as a guy that you will notice. You will know that when you are a work in progress and you working hard to grind it out, you're not where you want to be, this, that, and the other. You're not as cleaned up as you should be, or you're not paying attention to your image and stuff. The work in progress phase, you really notice how many people is paying attention to you or not. And then that differentiates because of your natural genetic looks and if you're really handsome than most people and all that stuff. But then once you start piecing yourself together and you start looking good wherever you go, whether it's Walmart, whether it's this, whether it's that, when you start working out in the gym, when you start taking pictures of yourself, enjoying yourself, and you're really just doing it for yourself, you're really just doing it for your friends to see, like, people that you just really care about seeing and glad they seeing you well, people will just come out the woodworks and just want to be all about you, all about what's going on with you. They will sit there and not be there when you working hard and would love to be part of your results. So keep that in mind. As far as the end of that conversation, I definitely agree that if you want to be, the best way I could just say this, because I have to learn this myself, if you want to be successful and you have an ideal and it may be a little bit above the norm that's around you, it may be past the family members and all that stuff, you have to understand that you have to leave that circle. You have to leave the people around you a little bit and be around people that are like-minded. Be around people that work hard, that want to be successful, that work hard diligently. Some people may give you tips and all this stuff that are just trying to grind and be there. It may be weird. It's definitely going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to personally get along with everybody to that extent, like your friends. But when you have like-minded focus, you will meet pretty dope people. Not all of them will be dope. Some of them will just be cool to work with. Others will be cool to add on to your friends list and to work with. All of that stuff. And you just got to focus on putting the work in for you and just networking and understanding, or whatever it is that you're doing, that you're passionate about doing or that you're into. You just got to understand and be around people that understand you. So take that for what it is. And yeah, fellas, if you don't have it because your family history may never had it, like mine, or maybe your family did it differently than what you want to do. Maybe you're not fit to do it the same way that your grandfather and your father did it, or this, that, and the other, or your uncle did it. You got to pave a way for yourself. Then there's a lot of resources. You can look into social media. You can Google. There's a lot of ways to kind of find that kind of group that you're into. It's not going to be a massive group all the time and all of that stuff, but there's groups out there for everybody. If there's people out here into these weird kinks of wanting to be a horse and all of that stuff, and they can find other people to fulfill that need and desire, then you can definitely find a group of people that are like-minded like you. Whether it's on the internet, whether it's around and stuff like that, eventually over time, you just gotta put yourself out there a bit, not too much. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. I just want to say, keep on working at what you do, whether you're a guy. This is a little bit more directed to the guys, but there's women out here that grind for that stuff. And for the ladies out there that work hard on your college degree, work hard on your job, and you get money, you have to understand from this point of view that men are not going to be interested, because the type of men that will be interested in you having a good job or a college degree are pretty much going to be the guys that want to use you. Because most guys that naturally are trying to be a leader, trying to get it out on their own, and trying to be a provider is all they know. And most women, most of these guys come across, always have this impression to spend their money and not really spend money to take care of them, really. So in our minds, for the most part, for the majority of guys, not all guys, that we don't count on women's money, because honestly, most women are either too selfish to spend their money on us, or they spend their money on the wrong person and now they got a bad experience from it, or naturally they're just naturally selfish towards that front. And then as a provider, you're already going to be spending money. You don't get that much stuff. You grew up, you don't get that much stuff. You don't get taken care of like that. You're just focused on getting money for yourself so you can do it yourself. And it's not like a requirement that's built like media, social media, or society is, to be like, oh, I'm looking for a woman that has a job or with money. Because there's a lot of women that no one will bat an eye that they don't have a job, they're not working, but it's a whole different demeanor that the guy's not working. So that should give you a hint of why, no matter how much money, how much hard you work for, or degrees that you get, it won't matter to a guy, because people frown on a guy not having a job versus women not having a job and treat them differently. Till next time, till next video, I'll catch y'all next time.